I wake standing at a crosswalk, my hand already reaching for the walk button. The city hums around me. The brass key in my pocket feels cold against my thigh. I don't remember getting here, or anything before this hum. The traffic light above cycles from red to green. Cars idle in neat rows, their engines purring, but no one is inside them. Not a single driver. Passenger seats are empty too. I scan the street. No pedestrians, no one on the sidewalks. Storefronts are dark, yet their display lights are on. A hot dog stand sits abandoned, steam still rising from its grill. A shadow stretches across the intersection. It moves too fast for the morning sun, rippling like water, then retracts into the alleyway. I blink, it's gone. The city is utterly silent, save for the idling engines and a distant, rhythmic thud I can't quite place. My breath hitches. This felt wrong. I just stand there, watching the empty cars. I find myself at my desk. The familiar hum of the office replacing the city's drone. My fingers are already on the keyboard. A half-finished report on the screen. The brass key in my pocket feels heavy, a cold comfort. A faint, jagged scar on my left wrist throbs softly, a reminder of the last time the world bent. I try to focus, but the fluorescent lights above flicker, casting dancing shadows. The door to the break room, usually shut tight, slowly creaks open, then closes again with a soft click. I glance up. No one is there. My coffee mug, which I'd left on the right side of my monitor, is now on the left. A chill runs down my spine. Then Sarah from accounting walks past my desk. Her eyes are wide, rolled back, a fixed smile on her face. Her voice is flat, distant. Remember, TVERO, the path you choose is always the one you were meant to take. There are no deviations. She blinks, her eyes returning to normal, and she continues walking as if nothing happened. The air feels thick, heavy. I didn't move. The rhythmic thud from the city outside seems closer now, echoing faintly in the quiet office. I'm still at my desk. The fluorescent lights above me flicker again, a rapid staccato. My eyes ache. The rhythmic thud from outside feels closer now, a low pulse against the office's quiet. I try to ignore it, focusing on the screen. My reflection stares back from the dark glass of my monitor, a tired face. Then, in the periphery of that reflection, something moves, a ripple, like the shadow in the street, but taller, thinner. It stretches from the corner of the room, across the wall behind me, then vanishes. I whip my head around. Nothing, just the beige wall, the closed break room door. My heart pounds. I didn't move. That felt wrong. I look back at my monitor. The reflection is normal, but the screen itself is different. A faint, silvery smear now streaks across the glass, right where the ripple had been. It's cold to the touch. My jagged scar on my left wrist throbs. The brass key in my pocket feels like ice. I trace the mark on the screen with my finger. It's real. I stare at the silvery smear on the monitor. My finger still traces its cold path. The rhythmic thud outside morphs. It's no longer a thud. It sounds like something dragging, heavy and slow, just beyond the office wall. My chair scrapes back on its own, a sudden, sharp sound against the quiet. I jump. My coffee mug, half full, slides across the desk, spilling a dark stain onto my papers. I didn't touch it. I didn't move. My breath catches in my throat. I try to tell myself it's the old building, the vibrations from the street, but the street is empty. The fluorescent lights above me flicker faster now, a frantic pulse. The jagged scar on my wrist burns. The brass key in my pocket feels like it's vibrating, a low hum against my skin. This isn't settling. This is wrong. Fear, cold and sharp, pricks at the edges of my weariness. The spilled coffee spread across my papers. The fluorescent lights above me flickered faster, a frantic pulse. The dragging sound outside the wall intensified, a heavy scraping. The office door creaked open. Mark stood there, eyes rolled back, a fixed, unsettling smile. "Rule number 5, he droned, a flat, distorted voice. "The world is a stage. Do not look behind the curtain." He blinked. Eyes snapped normal, then walked away, whistling. The dragging sound outside stopped. A vast, heavy groan followed. The wall itself seemed to ripple. A section of concrete near the floor began to stretch inward, like wet clay, pulling until a dark, formless mass pushed through, oozing into the office. It was not solid, not liquid, but something in between, absorbing light. It moved with a slow, deliberate undulation, leaving a slick, silvery trail on the carpet. The air grew heavy, thick with ozone and damp earth. The jagged scar on my wrist burned. The brass key in my pocket vibrated, a frantic hum. I couldn't breathe. This was the source. The oozing mass filled the office, expanding with a silent, terrible grace. I backed away, my hand instinctively reaching for the door handle. The brass key in my pocket felt like ice, vibrating against my thigh. The jagged scar on my wrist pulsed with a dull ache. The entity, a shifting void, seemed to expand, its edges blurring. It moved with impossible speed, not flowing, but appearing closer. I tried to dart around a desk, aiming for the exit, but the mass rippled. A section detached and stretched like a dark tendril, blocking my path. It wasn't chasing me. It was simply there, always between me and escape. The air grew colder, heavy with the smell of damp earth and something metallic. My heart hammered. I couldn't outrun it. I couldn't hide. It was too vast, too quick. I stood frozen, watching it undulate, its formless body absorbing the flickering fluorescent light. The silence of the office was broken only by my ragged breathing and the faint, wet sound of the entity's movement. The shifting void pressed against me. It wasn't a push, not exactly. It was more like the air itself had solidified, becoming a vast, cold weight that absorbed all light. I stumbled backward, my spine hitting the edge of a filing cabinet with a dull thud. The brass key in my pocket dug into my thigh, a sharp, familiar pain that grounded me. The mass didn't flow around me. It simply occupied the space I had been in, then the space I was trying to move into. It was everywhere at once. I felt its cold, damp presence against my back, then my side, then my front. It was like being submerged in something formless and suffocating, yet it was dry. My breath hitched, ragged and shallow. The metallic smell intensified, burning my nostrils, tasting like old blood. I tried to move, to twist away, but there was no room left. The office was gone, replaced by this expanding, silent pressure. The jagged scar on my wrist throbbed, a dull, constant ache, mirroring the pressure. I was trapped, utterly encased. The pressure had eased. It didn't vanish completely. A phantom cold lingered, a metallic taste in the air. Every shadow seemed to deepen. They rippled at the edges of my vision. I blinked, trying to clear my sight, but the distortions persisted. The office walls, once solid, seemed to breathe. They expanded and contracted, with a silent rhythm. Only I could perceive it. My own breath felt too loud. It was ragged in the sudden quiet. I listened, straining for sound. Only the dull throb of the jagged scar on my wrist answered. It burned, a constant reminder of the void's touch. The brass key in my pocket felt like ice. It dug into my palm as I gripped it. I knew it was gone. The entity was gone. But I couldn't shake the feeling of its presence. It was just beyond my sight, waiting. My skin crawled. I felt watched. Every corner held a potential threat. This was worse than being trapped. This was being hunted by nothing at all. I wake. I am standing in a sterile office break room. The smell of stale coffee hangs heavy. My hand is already reaching for the microwave door. A pre-packaged meal sits inside. The hum of the refrigerator is steady. It sounds normal. The fluorescent lights overhead flicker. It is a slight, familiar annoyance. The metallic taste in the air is gone. The shadows no longer ripple at the edges of my vision. The walls are solid again. They do not breathe. I pull the brass key from my pocket. It feels warm now, not cold. The jagged scar on my wrist still throbs. It is a dull ache. The burning has subsided. I look at the microwave clock. It reads 1372. I blink. It still reads 1372. The numbers are sharp and clear. But they are impossible. A single coffee mug sits on the counter. Its handle faces inward. The ceramic is warped. It is stretched thin on one side. It looks as if pulled by an invisible hand. I observe it closely. The entity might be gone, but its touch remains. This quiet is a trick. It is not over. It is just waiting. I wake. I'm sitting at a long, polished wooden table in a vast library. The air smells of old paper and dust, thick and still. My hand rests on an open book, its pages yellowed with age. The brass key in my pocket feels heavy, a familiar weight. The jagged scar on my wrist pulses with a dull ache, a constant reminder. I look up. Rows of towering bookshelves stretch into the dim light, disappearing into shadow. A woman, a librarian I think, approaches my table. Her eyes are rolled back, a fixed, unsettling smile on her face. Her voice is flat, distorted. "The pages must always turn," she says, then blinks, her expression returning to normal as she walks away. I watch her go. I look back at the book. The words on the page are shifting, rearranging themselves slowly, like sand in a current. A clock on the far wall ticks, but the hands spin backward, then forward, then backward again, never settling. It is not just the objects. It is the pattern, the impossible numbers, the warped ceramic, the shifting words. Each anomaly is a new iteration, a different manifestation of the same presence. It is a cycle. It is always here. It will always be here.